Tesla is in a better position to create a new phone that's not Android or iPhone than maybe any company in the world.
Elon Musk made Apple a $5 billion offer that could have changed the iPhone forever. He wanted to integrate Starlink directly into Apple devices. This would have given users high-speed internet from space, anywhere in the world. He gave Apple 72 hours to respond. However, Tim Cook rejected this lucrative offer almost immediately. That rejection didn't go unnoticed. Since then, Elon has been throwing shade. He has mocked Apple for its App Store fees, gone against their partner legally, and even hinted at launching his own Tesla phone. Some even think he made the offer just to provoke Apple, knowing they would say no. So what exactly was in that offer? And why would Apple turn down something that huge? Elon's lucrative offer. In 2022, just months before the launch of Apple's iPhone 14, Elon Musk sent a $5 billion offer straight to Tim Cook's desk. It was a strategic power play, as Elon wanted Apple to make Starlink the official satellite provider for iPhones. If Apple had said yes, SpaceX would have delivered satellite connectivity directly from orbit to every iPhone, bypassing traditional cell towers altogether. It would have been the first deal of its kind. To accept the deal, Elon gave Apple 72 hours to decide. But Tim Cook refused this offer. And that single decision may have changed the course of Apple's satellite future, and not in a good way. Musk's offer came with strings, but also major potential. The terms were good. Apple had to pay $5 billion up front, get an 18-month exclusivity deal for Starlink to power iPhones, and pay $1 billion per year after that period. Starlink would bring satellite internet directly to users, no matter where they were, even if users had no cell service. But this would have happened only if Apple played ball. Musk thought the value was obvious. He was offering something no other provider could: a working global satellite network, already in orbit, already tested, and expanding fast. But Apple said no. Instead of signing with Starlink, Tim Cook doubled down on a quiet agreement Apple had already been building: a partnership with Globalstar, which is a smaller satellite operator that had nowhere near the scale, speed, or power of Musk's constellation. Why would Apple walk away from a technically superior offer? According to insiders, Apple thought that by signing up with Elon, they would have lost control. Starlink was great, yes, but it was Elon's. And Elon is unpredictable. Tim Cook reportedly wanted to avoid dependency on Musk. Apple is famously cautious, and tying their core product to a service controlled entirely by Musk's privately held company was considered a long-term risk. If Musk changed pricing, throttled service, or inserted himself into product decisions, Apple would have little room to maneuver. And Musk's 72-hour ultimatum didn't help. It rubbed Apple the wrong way. The tone, the pressure was classic Elon, and Apple was not interested in playing that kind of game. Internally, some Apple executives didn't support the rejection. Reports later revealed that Craig Federighi, who is Apple's senior vice president of software engineering, and Adrian Perica, the head of corporate development, raised concerns about Apple's backup plan. Globalstar's aging infrastructure, lack of innovation, and dependence on future funding are some huge red flags. One Apple insider even admitted that SpaceX is ahead of Globalstar. So, while Cook was saying no to Musk, some of his own top people were questioning whether Globalstar could even deliver. And they were right to worry. Unlike Starlink's strong and growing fleet of low Earth orbit satellites, Globalstar had limited bandwidth, aging satellites, and years of delays in upgrades. It was an underdog solution, propped up by Apple's money and hope. Still, Apple went ahead with Globalstar, betting that a smaller, more controllable partner would cause fewer problems. But that didn't stop Elon. Within weeks of Apple's rejection, Musk followed through on his threat. He went public with a new partnership with T-Mobile, offering Starlink Direct-to-Cell, which is a satellite-powered mobile service that would bring internet to phones, including iPhones, without any Apple involvement. Even worse for Apple, Starlink's system worked with existing hardware. iPhone users on T-Mobile would get satellite coverage through Musk's system, even if Apple had officially chosen Globalstar. It was a move that undercut Apple's exclusivity and made their billion-dollar satellite investment look second-rate. And it was just the beginning. Starlink versus Globalstar. On one side, there is Starlink, which is SpaceX's rapidly expanding satellite internet network. It is already operating with thousands of low Earth orbit satellites, offering real-time global coverage, and is ready for integration into smartphones. On the other hand, there is Globalstar, a far smaller satellite operator with a limited fleet. It has aging infrastructure and a $1.7 billion lifeline from Apple. Elon Musk didn't waste time. Just 2 weeks after Tim Cook turned down his proposal, SpaceX announced a deal with T-Mobile to launch Starlink Direct-to-Cell, which is a satellite service designed to deliver text and basic connectivity to regular smartphones, including iPhones, without needing special hardware. That move alone was disruptive, but Musk wasn't finished. As Apple finalized its Globalstar partnership for the iPhone 14's emergency SOS feature, Musk escalated the fight with a full-scale regulatory offensive. In 2022, SpaceX filed complaints with the Federal Communications Commission. It targeted Globalstar's use of the 1.6 and 2.4 GHz spectrum bands, which are the very bands Apple depended on for its satellite messaging service. Musk's argument was that Globalstar was hoarding unused spectrum and actively blocking competition in frequencies they had not properly utilized for years. Worse, the complaint explicitly tied Globalstar's behavior to Apple's strategic interests, naming the tech giant as a direct beneficiary of this alleged anti-competitive behavior. This was a high-stakes play to undermine the foundation of Apple's satellite connectivity. If Musk could convince regulators that Globalstar didn't deserve sole access to those spectrum bands, Apple's satellite strategy would be severely weakened, if not rendered obsolete. And it was working. The FCC took the complaint seriously. SpaceX pushed for the spectrum to be open to shared use, which would allow Starlink and other satellite networks to operate alongside Globalstar. They called it a matter of fairness and technological progress. In contrast, Globalstar claimed such shared access would interfere with their existing systems and jeopardize safety and reliability for iPhone users. The regulatory tension only grew when Globalstar filed an application for its new C3 satellite constellation, partly funded by Apple's $1.1 billion investment. The goal was to enhance non-terrestrial iPhone features in the future. SpaceX immediately opposed the move, calling the application premature and urging the FCC to deny it outright. In a letter to the Commission, SpaceX argued that the bands in question had not been reviewed in nearly 2 decades and should be reconsidered before allowing new high-powered systems to launch. The outcome of this legal and regulatory standoff would directly shape who controls the future of space-based smartphone communication, and Elon Musk wasn't waiting for the FCC's final word to act. Internally, Apple was already facing issues with its choice. Apple's senior vice president of software engineering and the company's corporate development lead were both skeptical of the Globalstar partnership. They reportedly pushed to shut down the entire satellite feature program, arguing that Globalstar's capabilities were so much behind Starlink's and would not be competitive for at least a decade, and they weren't alone. Former Apple employees confirmed that Globalstar's network lacked speed, reach, and long-term stability. It was a fragile system, kept afloat by Apple's money, yet still years away from matching the performance of Starlink's constantly expanding fleet. Meanwhile, Elon Musk's Starlink was already proving itself in the real world. Starlink satellites offered more real-time coverage, stronger connections in remote areas, and increasingly efficient onboard technology. The Starlink T-Mobile collaboration didn't just provide basic connectivity. It was a way to show Apple customers what their devices could do if Apple had accepted Musk's original offer. And then came the strangest twist in the entire rivalry. Despite being the target of Musk's legal attacks, Globalstar signed a deal with SpaceX to launch its satellites. That's right. Apple's satellite partner ended up relying on Musk's rockets to stay alive. In early 2024, Globalstar inked a launch agreement with SpaceX to deliver 9 new replacement satellites into orbit. These second-generation satellites, built by McDonnell, Detweiler and Associates, were authorized by the FCC under Globalstar's Chiblio 4 license extending their constellation's operational lifespan by another 15 years. The irony was hard to ignore here. The same SpaceX that had tried to block Globalstar's expansion was now the one lifting their hopes, quite literally, into space. This wasn't charity. SpaceX got paid for the launch. But the symbolism was obvious here. Apple's billion-dollar strategy still needed Musk's rockets. And that dependency gave SpaceX a kind of leverage Apple couldn't ignore, even as they fought Musk on every other front. Even after the satellite launch deal, Globalstar's position remained fragile. Their new satellites might buy time, but not dominance. Apple's own executives were still questioning whether the entire satellite effort was worth it, especially since Apple wasn't charging users for the service, it wasn't monetizing it directly, and was risking new regulatory scrutiny. Scrutiny, which could force the company to act more like a telecom carrier than a hardware firm. Elon Musk, on the other hand, had nothing to lose. He was building faster, launching more, and using legal and public pressure to push Apple into a corner. And all the while, Starlink kept expanding, quietly reaching more users, building brand credibility, and forming backdoor access to iPhones through carrier partnerships. If that wasn't enough, Elon Musk is now trying every way to get back at Apple for rejecting his offer. Elon Musk's revenge. Elon doesn't always need to declare war out loud. Sometimes he just builds quietly until the competition realizes they have already lost ground. After Apple rejected his $5 billion Starlink offer, Musk didn't just walk away. He shifted into something far more dangerous: strategic retaliation. It started with his deal with T-Mobile. What made it worse for Apple was that they had no control over this rollout. The service was designed to work natively on newer iPhones, showing up just like any other signal. For Apple, a company obsessed with controlling user experience, that was a silent invasion. Musk had inserted his technology into Apple's ecosystem without asking for permission, or giving them any power over it. But the tension didn't stay behind closed doors for long. Musk began making pointed public remarks about Apple, hinting at his growing frustration. At a political rally in October 2024, while campaigning alongside Donald Trump, Musk stood on stage and said, "The idea of making a phone makes me want to die, but if we have to make a phone, we will." That wasn't just a joke. Rumor has it that Musk is planning to launch a Tesla phone. It's a potential smartphone designed entirely under Musk's control, built to integrate with Starlink, Tesla vehicles, Neuralink, and beyond. It wouldn't just compete with Apple's hardware, it would bypass it. The concept never formally materialized, but insiders say the idea was seriously considered. Apple reportedly viewed it as a real threat, especially as tensions rose over the App Store, ad revenue, and software control. Musk's secret plan is not to match Apple's products, but to undermine Apple's power bit by bit, from every angle. In late 2024, Apple was quietly exploring a deal with Tesla to use Apple Maps and other software in Tesla vehicles. But when negotiations broke down, the rivalry almost escalated to open hostility. Had that partnership gone through, the dynamic might have softened. Instead, it solidified the divide. Then came Grok, which is Musk's answer to the AI race. While Apple was working on Siri upgrades and integrating ChatGPT into iOS, Musk launched xAI's Grok, which is a chatbot embedded inside his social platform, X. Unlike Siri, Grok is unfiltered, trained on real-time social data, and tailored to Musk's vision of an uncensored AI assistant. Now, Siri remained tightly locked into Apple's system. ChatGPT appeared on iPhones under Apple's terms, but Grok is meant to stand apart. It is opinionated, raw, and distinctly Musk's. It was another reminder that Musk is directly challenging Apple's ecosystem, and he is doing it without making a single product that says Tesla versus Apple on the box. So while Apple tries to maintain control over its services, its satellites, and its users, Musk is quietly embedding himself into everything Apple touches. This includes satellite signals, smartphones, voice assistants, and even the networks those devices run on. It's revenge by design. And the story isn't over yet. So, what do you think? Will Apple ever rethink joining hands with Elon Musk? Or has this rivalry gone too far? Tell us what you believe in the comments. And if you want all the updates, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Goodbye for now.